Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live magic Q&A with me, your host, Madame Pamita, and my special guest this week, Marcus Keys, who's going to be talking to us about key magic. We're so happy to have you here. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll know that this is you may not know that this is a live thing where we have people come into the Zoom room and they ask us questions on chat. So if you want to be a part of it, well, we meet every Sunday, except for the first Sunday of the month. I'll tell you why. We meet every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We record this live Zoom Q&A, and you can be a part of it. Come into the clubhouse. It's free to join. You don't have to do anything except for go to spellsquad.com and sign up. When you sign up, you'll get the link to join us. And the link is the same every Sunday. Once in a while, like every year or so, I change it. But basically, it's the same link every Sunday. So if you'd like to join us, go to spellsquad.com, sign up. You'll get the link. You'll get the reminders in the email. And you'll be able to join us live and ask your questions about magic, law of attraction, spiritualism, divination, all kinds of things, anything magical, mystical. We take it all on here. So come on down, come to the Spell Squad Clubhouse and join us. If you're just stumbling on this and you don't know who this lady is talking, I'm Madame Pamita. You can find me online at parlorofwonders.com. That's my website. You can also find me online at YouTube. I got a big YouTube channel with tons of videos, and you just look for Madame Pamita there. I also have an active Instagram where I like to post things, and that is also Madame Pamita, and you can find me over there. Those are the best places to find me. Just a couple of announcements I have coming up because I want to let you guys know this. January 22nd is the date. That's this Friday. That's the date when the New Moon Spell Service, New Moon Spell Kits, and New Moon Spell Kit and Workshop reservations open up. You can place your orders on January 22nd for the February new moon. So if you want to do a spell with me, either do one at home with a spell kit, do one with a workshop with me with your spell kit at home, or you want me to do one on my altar, that all opens up on February 22nd at 12 noon Pacific. So 12 noon Pacific, 1 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern time on Friday the 22nd. So mark your calendars, make sure you get in on that, because that window is only open for a week. When the spell services are gone, they're gone. There's only 13 spaces for that. But the spell kits and the spell kit and workshop are only good for a week. They're only available for a week because we got to get them to you. We have to mail them to you. So make sure that you sign up early. You order those early and you can get those. And then for February, we can do our beautiful Open Roads Skull spell. This is to open up your mind, to open up consciousness, to change someone else's mind, or to open up your mind in some way. So it can be a really beautiful spell for either working on someone else or working on a loved one or working on yourself, any way you want to do it. Another thing that's coming up soon is on January 27th, I'm going to be doing a workshop with Catland Books. So if you want to join that workshop, it's going to be Love Magic 101. That's at catlandbooks.com to get your reservations for that. It's $20 and it's going to be on the 27th. So you can get that right now. Buy your ticket now and join me on the 27th at 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central, 8 and 7 p.m. Eastern time. Last thing I want to let you guys know is on February 7th, I'm going to be doing a class in love potions, and that's going to be through me. So if you want to do that, you go to witchcraftworkshops.com. That will take you over to the page on my site where you can sign up for that Love Potions Magic Workshop. So that's the first Sunday workshop. First Sunday of the month, I do a workshop instead of doing the Q&A. So you can join me for that. That's going to be a super fun one. Now, that's all my business. Let me get into introducing our guest. Marcus Keys is a Mexican-American spirit worker and diviner. He's been offering readings and magical services for more than a decade. I've known him for years and years. We've always seen each other at PantheaCon. He presents topics on magic, such as key magic, at conventions such as PantheaCon, where we've known each other, and his local community pagan events. He's currently a dedicated student of Tommy Starchild in the Hellsmere branch of the Ellenkin of Anderson Fairy Witchcraft. You can find him on Instagram and definitely on TikTok because, oh my gosh, he posts amazing TikToks. I see them over on Instagram because I don't know. I'm an old lady. I don't know how TikTok works.
Switched. They upload.
And he provides readings and discussions under the @_skeleton _key. And on his website, marcusskeletonkeys.com. I'm going to put those over in the chat so everyone can see them. Welcome, Marcus. I'm so glad you're here with me today.
Yeah. You are the hostess with the mostest. Seriously, you are amazing. All the stuff that you are such an inspiration on what I want to do. One of some of the things I want to do as a worker as well too. So thank you for having me on here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you. I'm looking down. I'm not looking at you because I'm typing your stuff in the chat so that everybody can find you and sign up for your thing.
Oh yeah, that's perfectly.
There we go. All right. So there we go. marcusskeletonkeys.com and at the _skeleton_key on Instagram, on TikTok, on all the other ones. It's so great to have you here. It's so fun to hang out. I mean, it feels like it's PantheaCon season almost.
Right? Oh yeah, I would be picking outfits right now.
I know, me too. I'd be getting ready for my workshop that I'm going to teach. I know PantheaCon is done and there was supposed to be something to replace it. Going to be this year. Mm-hmm. But, everything's on hold. Everything's on hold this year. So, our paths will cross again. We'll be able to teach live again. I know that will happen. So yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to hang out again in person.
Yes.
So I'm going to just jump into it and ask you a few questions. Well, first of all, before we even get started, you're going to be doing a key and card reading at the end of our session today. Mm-hmm. So the way we do it here is we always ask for you, the guest, to tell me your favorite emoji. And then you guys that are in the clubhouse, if you want to be in the running, in the raffle for getting a reading at the end of our session today, we need you to put that emoji or put the word. So Marcus, what's your favorite emoji?
Wait, I have to say it or they have to guess?
No, you have to say it. We can't go through 150 emojis.
Oh my God, yeah, you're right. So my favorite emoji is the skeleton key.
Oh, I love that. How perfect. Well, you guys put the word key or put the emoji of the skeleton key. If you put the gold regular key,
that's fine too.
We'll let you in, but find the skeleton key if you can. I see some keys coming in. Great. Yeah. Some rebel is putting a gold key there, though. I see that. Anyway, a key is a key, right? A key is a key. So what we're going to be doing is first of all, you do this amazing, you are famous throughout the witchy world for being the key guy.
Yeah.
how did you get started working with keys, and where did this journey begin and where did it evolve to?
Got it. So my journey with keys began when I was younger, in my early 20s, when I first was really becoming more comfortable with my own self, my sexuality, becoming an adult, and also growing my path originally within Wicca and understanding the religion from there at that point. And I slowly started developing this fascination with skeleton keys. I work with the goddess Hecate, and that is one of her symbols. Skeleton keys, there's a difference between a master key and a skeleton key, but keys in general are just magical symbols for unlocking potential, to safeguard things, for knowledge. And I would actually wrap skeleton keys, wire wrap stones and other stone beads onto them and sell them as talismans on a small Etsy shop. So it started from there. And one day, almost a decade ago, at this time right now, my current coven mate, he and his partner invited me over for dinner. And I was very upset about something that happened that day. And they just said, just come over. We really want to have you over. We're going to make some really nice stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. So fine, I'll go over. And we have our meal. I'm feeling a little bit better. And they said, we have dessert for you. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. What's that mean? So they bring over this box with a towel over it. And I'm like, what is it? They're like, it's your dessert. I'm like, okay. I'm like, is it a kitten? Like, what is it? So I lift up the towel. It's hundreds and hundreds of old keys, skeleton master keys, modern keys. They're like, we really believe in what you do, and we saw these at an estate sale, and so we thought we would gift these to you. So I'm like, thank you so much. And so I started working with them from there. And I would make talisman after talisman. And suddenly, within the framework of the practices that I'm in, not only am I a dedicated student of Anderson Ferry with Tommy Starchild, I'm also an apprentice with the Fairy Series ship with Orion Foxwood and the House of Bree. So
Ryan.
paying attention to the spirit of things was something I was taught as well. So when I'm going through these keys, like some of them actually started talking, saying like, this is love, this is wealth, this is family, this is work. And so I'm like, oh, this would be really interesting if I create a system of divination with just keys, because they would be my own. And, just in case, fantasy world thing, if I get stopped by a witch hunter, they would just see like just a random amount of keys. And I can bring them anywhere. I could just toss them, and cast them and see what was going on with a specific situation. And it just grew from there almost a decade ago. I've been providing readings this way. I'm providing talismans. I've done key magic workshops, and I'm growing. My business and my style of magic is growing every day. Right now I'm at a very comfortable space where it's nice to know that I'm famous amongst all as the key guy right now, because I don't know anybody else that does the same thing as I do.
No, that's like, I kind of feel like that's one of those things where like your deity, your muse, your spirits gave you this inspiration, and all the things lined up for that to really fall into place so that you could find that very, very specific path, Hecate saying, okay, let's go.
Yeah, and she's popping up so much. Within the last decade, I feel that she's been popping up so much more in precedence with people, regardless if you are a beginner to advanced practitioner of magic. Even in pop culture now, I mean, hey, she was in Sabrina, so I said someone actually mentioned that on TikTok, like, I'm seeing all these videos about Hecate now. Is it because I saw Sabrina? I'm like, the goddess is alive and magic is an algorithm. So
I love that. That's so funny. Yeah. I feel like this is one of those examples where if you're paying attention, and I do think as you said, it's like that paying attention part of it, of magic, where you're paying attention to signs. I mean, you could have taken those keys and just gone, I'm going to do the same old thing. I'm going to, or put them in a closet, you know what I mean? Or done something, but instead
I don't
you
believe in
opened up
closets.
to that. Put them behind something in a drawer, you know what I mean? Get those ideas. But they gave you these keys as this gift, seeing in you or being inspired that you were going to do something really special with those keys, and you did do something really, really special with those keys. It's amazing. I think it's gorgeous and beautiful. I love that when it is paying attention to your spirits talking to you, and your spirits, what I would call my spirit guide council. Some people call it deities or angels or whatever, that they call those spirits connecting with you and sending you on that way. Now, probably had you not done it, you would have gotten gifted with more keys and more keys and more until you finally got the message. But
right, yeah, and I always get people just happen to give them to me. They're like, oh, hey, can you actually use this? I'm like, yeah, sure, just let me hold on to it for a while.
Oh my gosh.
The art piece right behind me, that was gifted to me from a colleague in San Diego, and I saw this exact art piece at the Del Mar Fair, where they do like showcasing of artists and their vendors. And I saw this piece, and at the time I was not able to purchase it, and I thought, oh well, maybe it'll go to someone else. It turns out that my friend had purchased it, but then as they're moving, they decided not to keep it. So then they thought of me, and I'm like, oh, they're like, here's something I think you would love more. I'm like, oh, it's the exact same thing that I saw.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, I almost feel like that quality of magnetism where you pull something to you and you have an affinity for it. It's almost, I'm going to say this is my opinion. You may disagree with me, but it's like the keys have spirits, and the keys want to be with someone who appreciates that spirit. And so they want to come to you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same thing with any tool, any any tool, any other artist arsenal that you'll have, in your pack, as your medicine, as a healer, as a witch, as a spirit worker, whatever, those are drawn to you for a reason. Actually, my uncle actually told me that when I was very younger about stones. That stone was picked for you. That was supposed to be yours in general. So yeah, I definitely agree.
I love that. I love that. Well, are you ready to get to some questions and answer some questions about magic?
Sure, yeah.
I know you have so much wisdom and so much knowledge to share. So you guys, you ask the questions. We go in first come, first serve order. Should have said this at the beginning, but I forgot to say it. We go in first come, first serve order with the questions. If your question is something personal, like is Susie going to come back to me? Is Johnny going to come back to me? Those are questions for a reading. This isn't that kind of a forum for that. For that, you could book a session with Marcus. You could book a session with me. We'd be happy to answer your questions, your personal questions. Mm-hmm. However, there's a sneaky thing that you can do. If that is your idea or your question, you can't ask, is Susie or Johnny going to come back to me? But you can ask, what's a good reconciliation spell? So ask your questions in the form of something that's general knowledge about magic that everyone can benefit from, right? Not everyone can benefit from you knowing if Susie or Johnny is going to come back to you, but everyone can benefit from knowing a reconciliation spell. So there you go. That's the kind of question we're looking at. All right. So let's take a look at the questions we've got here. Okay. Nina has a question. Hi, everybody. I see all the highs. Everyone say hello. Nina has a question. Do you know anything? And I don't really know anything about this, so I have no idea, but maybe Marcus, you do. What would be the spiritual reason for having sleep paralysis? In my dream, I can't move or speak to help myself. Sometimes I'm being attacked.
The first thing that comes to me is trauma. And this is not to say that the person asking this question has had a rough life or anything like that. All of us have actually, in some shape or form, experienced adverse things in our life. It could be, being scared when you were younger by a clown, or it could be a very traumatic event, such as 9/11. So the spiritual point of it is that your spirit is trying to recognize, what is happening at the same time. Again, if it was when you were younger, if you had experienced something, your spirit was not familiar with it, and actually, as an adult, that memory in your body gets stuck with it. I actually have this condition as well. And when I have a very stressful week or a very stressful situation happening to me personally, I do have a paralysis demon. I do have waking moments where I see shadows or things are moving in my room more than usual. And, and it's something I cannot explain. So, but before I go to, it's demons. Before I go to that, I check with myself first. I check with my guides, I check with my spirit. And, have I been sleeping enough? Have I been eating enough? Halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Things like that first. And then I move to the spiritual things. It's not to be, like this show is supernatural, but like the obvious things, not disrespecting the dead, basically things like that. Honoring if there are things that are entering my house that I maybe did not cleanse that week, or if there is something that is attached to me, maybe I should do a cleansing at the same time. So when it comes to situations like that, at first I check with myself in like a mundane way, and then I go to a spiritual setting as well. So for sleep paralysis, I will perform a cleansing on myself for a week. There are different ways of doing it. You can do spiritual baths. There's candle cleansings. You can also, I typically like to advise people to put a small bowl of salt underneath their bed, sort of where they're between their solar plexus, like their heart and their head. That way the salt will absorb any negative energy that is like kind of like leaking off, and then change it out for a week. And then if things dissipate, then just remove the bowl in general.
I think, it also, I don't experience, I mean, that's a great answer because I don't experience that. And so I can't speak to it. But I'm wondering when you started saying that, I'm wondering if like also too, like what are you consuming before you go to bed in
Mm-hmm.
terms of media are you consuming?
Oh
I find
yeah.
that for me, if I'm very sensitive to what I read, see, hear, and all of that, and I think as empaths, we probably are more sensitive. So I don't watch scary movies. Some people love scary movies. I do not
I
watch
do.
them. I don't watch scary movies. I don't watch violent movies. I don't watch news. I read about the news, but I don't watch the news. So I have to monitor my intake
Mm-hmm.
because you are what you consume. And that is not just food, that is talking about the things that you see and you take in. We can see that a lot. You know, we can see that a lot about in the world because people are consuming um, lies and then we were talking about this earlier, like our
Right. Yeah.
politics, but people are consuming lies and then it activates them, it makes them anxious where they're acting out in crazy ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I want to be monitoring that. So I'm wondering, Nina, too,
Right.
are you paying attention to that? Now that may not have a relation to your sleep paralysis, but maybe it has, maybe it can help too. You know, if you're not watching something scary, then for me, that's when I have a bad dream. I don't have bad dreams, but I will have a bad dream. Like this is like kind of a funny thing. I watched the movie Pulp Fiction and then I had a bad dream that night, a violent dream that night. And
Well,
I'm like, that was a really great movie, but I can't watch a thing like that because I'm going to have a bad dream at night about it. So I watch boring things like flowers in time-lapse flowers opening before
oh,
I go to sleep and stuff like that. Or listen to Beatrix Potter. I listen to the most quiet, calming things because I want my dream time to be peaceful, you know? So that's another, maybe, I don't even know if that's a helpful hint or not, but it's something that maybe you can assess for yourself too. All right, let's look at some more stuff. Oh my gosh, good questions. Lady Raven has a question. I've never gotten into key magic. A lot of people haven't gotten into key magic. I mean, I work with keys as pendulums and I work with keys in as a tool in magic, like putting in a mojo bag or that way, but I've never done it for reading. So the fact that you are like the key guy is so fascinating to me and I'm sure everyone else. So Lady Raven says, I've never got into key magic. I've been embarking on a new journey. Does it work for looking at past lives? If so, are you protected from anything that's wanting to get back at you from those past lives? So we got kind of a question about past lives in here and a question about working with keys. So take it away, Marcus. Have you ever done any past life stuff with keys?
I'm not an expert at past life regression or doing past life work. What I do actually with all the keys that I work with, like this one for instance, I'm working within that moment. So yes, keys do have memory. They may have residual energy and things like that, but everything that I work with, I cleanse and purify and bless, before I get to use them for any other purpose. For past life work, I'm sure there is a way that you can actually create ritual for yourself to either bless a key and there's certain ways that I do it, but if you were to, the best way I can say is to like to spell it to actually work in a certain way for you, to recall things in your dreams and just put it under your pillow, for instance. That would probably be the best way I can advise for that.
It's such a, let's talk about keys and magic for a second, because understanding that working with Hecate and working with keys, you're unlocking something, right? You're unlocking something, or you're locking
You're
something.
locking something up, yeah.
Yeah, you can unlock or lock. But if you were wanting to do past life work, you could use that key as a talisman to unlock your memories or unlock that awareness, that awakened awareness. And that could be one way that you could work with it. I see that. When you do past life work, I do past life readings. I've never worked with keys with past life readings, but when you're doing past life readings, there's not something that's going to get back at you from a past life. That's kind of the other part of the question. You're having a recollection about something, but whenever anyone has a recollection, either your reader is recalling for you or you are doing a regression and you're recalling for yourself. There's always a sense of detachment. So even if you went through it, it's like watching a movie, going back to movies. If you're watching Titanic, you're not fearful that you're going to drown. You might feel energized, excited, nervous or something, but you're not you yourself going through the trauma of drowning. So the same thing when you reflect on a past life, it's like watching a movie. You may have an emotion, but you're not really going to be feeling the immediate emotion of that you had in that lifetime. It's distant. So you aren't bringing back something. It's like remembering something from this lifetime past, right? So if you like remember, oh, I got bitten by a dog. That's why I don't like dogs, or I'm afraid of dogs, is because I was bitten by a dog when I was young. That helps heal that phobia that you might have about dogs. So the same thing when you're going into past life, you aren't re-experiencing the trauma. You're watching it from a distance, but it gives you some understanding about why you are experiencing something that's unexplainable in this lifetime. So it's not like you're not pulling some energy, you're pulling something from the back into your current lifetime. You're watching it from a distance. So
a really good way of saying it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful kind of working to do. I love that kind of working. It's beautiful to go back, and I do readings for clients on I do past life reading. I teach people how to do past life readings. I've done regressions myself. I mean, I've done lots and lots for decades. I've done past life work, but it's never been a thing where I've gone, even seeing myself die has not been traumatic, because it actually gives you an awareness that the soul is eternal, because you experienced that. And then now here you are. That means that you're going to come back again in a new body again after this. And that gives profound peace. The death is like taking off your clothes and throwing them in the hamper at the end of the night. It's not any drama. So it helps actually bring a lot of peace and a lot of perspective. When you have that long range perspective, you definitely have a different perspective on life.
Death is drag.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You get to put on a whole fabulous new outfit when you in your next life, right?
Yeah.
David has a question. And we started to talk about it, but we can go into deeper on it. David says, do the keys correspond to locks? Is there unlocking or locking involved? I think he is asking, do they correspond to real locks in this world? Do you work with locks?
So yes, I actually do work with keys that have locks for locking purposes, but also for road opening as well. You can do a multitude of things with locks actually. So I didn't actually mention this, but I am currently in the process of writing a book.
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, and I actually will incorporate that, because a lot of people consider, a lot of folks consider locks and keys, some people associate them automatically with prisons. So, but like at the same time, it could be for the opposite, to release other things, for yourself, or to keep things down. But for the keys that I work with, and I think this is a bit of information that I am adding to my book as well. But when you're acquiring a key, if you ever go to a locksmith and you ask for a skeleton key, they will not give you, this is in California at least, they will not give you a skeleton key, and they will not recreate a key unless you have the original. Because by California law, you cannot acquire a key that belongs to, you cannot get a key copy basically unless you have the original, because it's to deter people from breaking into old houses, to possibly break into chests or places that they have like valuables and things like that. And the wording of skeleton key and a master key, they are interchangeable. The master key basically was the original, like this is the key that opens every single door. It would be the master or the madam of the house, the slave master in slavery times would have the key to unlock the shackles of everybody else that is enslaved. And when they were developing new forms of locksmithry, what they would do is break the teeth of the key, so that way they can be used again. So those became skeleton keys, because those were dead keys. Oh, you can still, they're interchangeable the terminology is interchangeable. Master key to master things, a skeleton key to open all doors. It means the same thing. It's just the difference between those two is that a skeleton key is supposed to be a dead key that's no longer used for anything.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I have to share with you something too. And I don't know if you know this, because I am doing tons of research on Slavic magic. I'm half Ukrainian. And I'm doing tons and tons of research on Slavic magic, which there isn't very much information out there. I'm writing a book right now. It's making me bananas because I'm having to translate things and I don't speak Ukrainian. So it's really hard. But this is what I wanted to share with you. There are incantations in Slavic magic, Russian and Ukrainian, probably Belarusian and all other, all the other Slavic country, Polish and so on. But there's incantations, and the incantation ends with, my tongue is a key, my mouth is a lock. I throw the key into the ocean, meaning I'm never going to speak about this again. I don't know if that shows up in any other. Have you ever seen that before?
No, but the two or 3 years ago at PantheaCon, there was another person in the audience,
Workshop.
Class, sorry. There was another person in the class, actually, because I left the forum open for questions, and this young lady mentioned how her family would do something similar like that. They would actually get old keys, like old keys with a bow like this, and they would actually perform a ritual for keeping secrets. So that's what I've heard. But that's interesting. And I know in other Eastern European countries, they would take the key from the church because it's connecting to St. Peter, and also iron keys were used by midwives to basically open the birth canal.
Yeah.
Things like that.
There's another thing too I want to share with you too. We should email after this is done, and I'll share my key information so you can incorporate it in your book or whatever. But there's another thing. There's a divination. It's a divination that's done on St. Andrew's Day, which I believe is at the beginning of December, end of November, beginning of December. I can't name the date off the top of my head, but there's a divination where you take a key, and it has to be a skeleton key because it has to have that big opening. Mm-hmm. You pour beeswax through the key into a bowl of water. Then the wax is going to hit that water and, solidify. So liquid wax through the keyhole into that water. Then you take that beeswax out and you hold it up and shine a light behind it, and you look at the reflection on the wall, and the shape on the wall will tell you your fortune for the year.
Yeah, someone actually shared that on TikTok recently.
Oh my gosh!
I saw that. I saved it. I'll send it to you when I find it.
Yeah. It's like it's an old divination technique, and it only is done on St. Andrew's Day. But I'm sure you can do it anytime. But that was the tradition. It's done on St. Andrew's. But yeah, that key, that my mouth is a lock and my tongue is the key, and I take the key out of the lock and throw it in the ocean. Like, I'm never going to speak of this again. Like, it's like sealing your spell or locking your spell. I think of those locks being like those commitment things, like those things you see in Paris, where the locks on the bridge and the bridge falls down. But,
right. Yeah, I know. Yeah. And also when I was, one of my other interviews that I was on recently too, with the Conjure crew, they mentioned, the host mentioned that, is there a spell that you can actually use to, put a key through hot, fire, and make sure it's red hot, and then turn the key in the lock to seal something away. And I'm like, yes, yes, that's amazing. Like she asked me, oh, I want to do this, but I don't know what to do. I was thinking about this. I'm like, that's perfect. You don't need anything else.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so Tara has a question. Here we have a couple of comments. Bruce says, have you ever thought about the magical properties of locks? Oops, my question was already asked. So we talked about locks. AJ says, hello, Marcus. I loved your classes at PCon. How can we use key magic to get a specific job? Are there ways to use keys to get jobs?
Yes. So it's almost similar to other spells to open roads. You would actually, you could just do road opening work with that key in general too. But if you are looking for a specific place, a specific office, a specific industry, anything like that, it requires a couple other things. You can gather the dirt outside of the business and then work with that dirt around your key, put it in a bag as well. And also working with the spirits of the roots or gravel roots for employment as well. Dragon's blood would also be another thing to amplify the potency of it, and a magnet or a lodestone to basically attract that business or attract that job. If you know the names of the employers, Yeah, so basically get a mojo bag
Yeah.
with a small key, the dirt of the place, the names of the employers, dragon's blood powder, and if you can tap the key onto the door or the lock of the place a couple of times, and then turning it to opening it to you, that is one way you can actually do that.
So good. I love that. I love that. That's perfect. Yeah, those are all excellent suggestions, ideas. And I love the idea of tapping the key on the lock and miming like you're opening it, you know, unlocking it. That's perfect. I love that. Tara has a question. Um, I'm new to the craft and very drawn to and feeling signs from both Hecate and Lilith. I love hearing that you work with Hecate. I respect the energies and importance of both these goddesses. How can I honor both daily without feeling I'm not giving proper respect to one or the other?
That's interesting. Do you have something you want to say about that? Okay.
You say what you're going to say. I feel like unless there's a reason that they can't work together. Like, I mean, they don't have any, as far as I know, Lilith and Hecate are kind of related. They're not really at odds with one another.
Correct. Then there's many research projects right now, academia studies and articles right now of the original practices of Hecate and Lilith. Basically, a lot of folks would like to synchronize dark goddesses together, but they're not one and the same. Their origins are different as well, and within research too, you are finding that one was actually probably centuries even older than the other as well too. So the practice may have evolved over time and was synchronized with another for another goddess. For instance, the goddess Inanna, in Sumeria, she was the original goddess of queen of heaven, hell, and earth. Later on, moved to Ishtar, then Astarte, and then the other forms of her, Venus and Aphrodite, and then now you get Cher and Lady Gaga. So it's like it's different. The form of the goddess basically moves throughout time and within humanity's perspective as well too. So I would say whatever you are called to, if you are called to work with them separately, go ahead and do that until something changes in your practice and in your research. Go with the flow of it. Some things are sometimes you're spirited away to actually work with something, and then it will change over time with that journey.
Yeah, I mean, I think any spiritual practice, you evolve and grow, and you may be working with both of them, and you may find that they are fine working with one another, and you may find that they're not fine working with one another. I would, either you could do a guided meditation, or you could do a divination of some kind, maybe even get a reading or do a reading for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You could do a pendulum and ask them, can you guys work together? Ask Hecate, can you work with Lilith? And ask Lilith, can you work with Hecate? And see if they feel fine. Then you might start them out, maybe working on separate altars, maybe working on the same altar, but it's just sort of by nature. There's some gods and goddesses that I feel are antagonistic by nature to one another, that you wouldn't want to work with them together necessarily. But I don't see those two necessarily being antagonistic, but you'll have to ask them and see. Whenever you work with a spirit, you can ask them. The easiest way is to do a yes/no divination and ask them yes/no questions. And that you can do with flipping a coin or working with a pendulum or something like that, and just ask them if they feel okay if you work with both of them. See what they have to say. Bruce has a question. Are there any good spells for speeding up the US mail? Well, it's going to take all of us doing a spell for that.
Right. I would say talk to your local, not your local, but your state senator. No, I really don't know, to be honest. So maybe communicating with Hermes or Mercury.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great one, actually. Right. But working, I think anything of like, I try and, when I've seen, like, I deal with the mail all the time because we ship things out of the Parlor of Wonders all the time. So we're dealing with the mail all the time. And we've had a lot of, things like missing packages and things like that we've been dealing with. But I always try and find a place of compassion, understanding that, you know, your mail carrier is not the one that's slowing your mail down.
It's the
Even
system.
exactly, even your postmaster isn't the one slowing them down. It is the fact that we've had bad management at the highest level, and then also you know, a crushing amount of things being shipped because of COVID. And so now you have those two things coming together, and everything has just slowed down and become more challenging. You know, I just always feel compassion for our mail carriers, because they're working really hard. They're frontline workers. They're working really hard, and they're a lot of people's lifeline connection to getting their checks, getting their, you know, getting their things that they're ordering. And so we want to be kind to them, because they're not the ones creating the problem. They're on your side.
They're just the messenger.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So Jackie, your question is how late? Oh, Jackie has a question. How late is too late to do a love spell? If my relationship broke up a year ago, is it too late? Well, we don't know about your relationship because we're not doing a reading on it. But in general, how late is too late to do a love spell?
Well, I would say it's over and done with in the meantime. My response is like, it's done. It's already gone past, you know, how they say, you know, two ships sailing through the night and passing, you know, sometimes it's too late. But the ultimate thing is just cultivating love for yourself, which is really hard, but rewarding at the same time.
Yeah. I think of that thing of like, I'm very much a person that is working with energies and working with things. So I'm not creating, like in magic, my philosophy is that I'm not by force of will. My will is included in it, but it isn't just my will that's creating something. I'm working with energies, right? So I'm working with planetary energies, working with herbs, working with artifacts, and also working with spirit. And so a lot of times when I do a spell, I will add things on at the end that are like my loopholes and my special clauses. And one of them is perfect outcome and perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do a love spell, and maybe I'm doing a love spell for a particular person, I may add the perfect outcome and perfect timing at the end, so that I then don't fret about the timing of it. But also maybe the perfect outcome is somebody new comes into my life. Or maybe the perfect outcome is that person does their thing and gets their, you know what, together, and then they're ready for me. They're ready for that. So I don't get too specific on my own spell work. I don't get very specific. I kind of open it up. So I think that when you're doing a love spell for something that you haven't heard from that person for a year, you can add something like that at the end to open it up to other possibilities. Other thing is, do you really want someone that wouldn't talk to you for a year? Aren't you worth more than that? I think so. You know?
Yeah, Orion Foxwood talks about the dampers on the blue flame of life, and one of the four dampers is the desire for absolutes. So it has to be exactly. And yes, we do create these wish lists, but at the same time, how my teacher Tommy Starchild actually says, sometimes when we do that, we're limiting spirits. If it's this exact person, if it's this exact thing, but there's obviously this blockage, then we're creating that limitation. We're not acknowledging that limitation.
Yeah. There may be something so much better out there, but we're so focused on the thing that we're thinking about that we're not even aware or open to it. And I like being very open for bringing in the best. So even if that means a closed door in an area that I'd like to be in, I trust that closed door means that something even better is coming. And that's a beautiful way of doing that work. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask another question. And while I'm asking that question, you're answering that question, I'm going to count the number of people that put the word key or the key emoji in. So we'll know what our number is. So if I'm not looking at you and I'm looking over here, you'll know why. Someone said, thank you for speaking about the watching what you watch. I don't watch the news either. The news gives me nightmares. Yeah, I don't watch the news. So Lucky Heart says, have you ever been stuck and wishing to have a key open doors? I'm not sure what that question means. Do you know what that question means?
Stuck in your life? I mean, in open roads?
Maybe a key to figuratively open doors. Have you
Figure.
ever, oh, I guess maybe the question is, have you ever been in a situation where you couldn't unlock a door with a key spell? Maybe that's what the question is. I hope that's what the question is.
I have never run into this situation before, but I probably would say, how we were referring to the last question, like some things are, we have these wish lists and how we want things to, happen, but we don't acknowledge that they're not happening for some reason because of the limitations that we're putting on ourselves. So they have to happen in the exact same way, but sometimes you receive it in another alternate way as well too.
Okay, so I've got our number in for our key so that you can pick a number between 1 and 33, and I will take that. I will say who that person is, and then they can ask you a question.
Okay. All right. I choose number 17. 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Jen. Okay, Jen. Hi, Jen. I'm gonna pull you up. Jen is our winner. Oh, there's 2 Jens. I think it's this one, the lowercase Jen. Hi, Jen. I'm gonna ask you to unmute. Can you hear me? I mean, can you unmute so you can ask a question?
Hello.
Hi, Jen.
Hello.
Actually, I wasn't ready to ask a question, but something that comes to mind is there a way that you can find out who the spirit is in your house?
Spirit, who is in your house? There's multiple divination forms out there right now. So do you work with tarot cards or runes, or do you have a system of divination?
Well, I use crystals and I do use some cards.
Okay. You can actually have a session. Is it a specific room?
Well, the kitchen, I guess the kitchen would be it because these strange things keep happening. The gas stove goes on. And
Wow.
I guess stove can't go on. I even had the electrician, come and its stove is fine. So that's kind of, I would like to know who it is because I have people who've passed. So is that an okay question to ask?
I would assign your stones to either people that you know that have passed recently, and if there's a stone that can correspond with I don't know who this person is or anything like that, then you can do some divination or whatever vibrates to you the most for that divination purpose. If you can sit in your kitchen with a candlelight and ask the spirit that's there, who's currently here, and then whatever stone you can wave your hand over the table basically of the stones that you have, and then whatever calls to you the most, you pick it. And then if it's a rose quartz and it signifies a grandmother figure, things like that, you can work with that spirit, possibly give them a cup of tea, anything that was their favorite, while they were in this life.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how to even begin to figure that out.
Do you have a divination question? Like, is there a topic that you'd like to look at for a quick question? Like maybe seeing what's ahead in career or a relationship question or money, family?
You're reading on that?
I don't know.
What's the most important thing to you right now? Your career, health, money, family?
My job. My
okay.
Career, yes.
All right. Marcus will do a quick reading with his key and card. Do you want to tell them what you're going to do? I'm going to mute you, Jen, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Cool. So the deck that I work with is called the Hoi Polloi deck. It is a Rider-Waite deck, but the back is a giant skeleton key. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is ask the cards really quick about Jen. Okay, what is going on with Jen and her job, possible employment, strength, opportunities? Okay. So the card that came up is the Eight of Swords reversed. This is, if there's a situation right now, Jen, in your employment right now where you feel that you're struggling or that you feel that you can't get out of, this is a time for you to, get out of those barriers right now. Most of them are in your head that, you can't do this, you can't do that. Sometimes you just need to get away from that place and just say, I actually can. I am, that you are able to do specific things, that you can advance, things like that. And also, if this is a place that's giving you a lot of stress, like if you're constantly thinking about it while you're at home, picking fights with people that are not in front of you, just in your head, things like that, it's probably a time to either reconsider career options or just leave that place in general. Burnout can happen with anybody, and also it's something to recognize. It's hard to recognize, especially when you've never happened or when it never has happened to you. So the things that I can recommend is speaking with your spirit guides is the first key that I pulled out. The second key is, this one is an emergency key that you would put in a steamer tension. So you would actually, in this case, don't panic. If you do feel stuck, don't drop anchor. Do not leave immediately. You need to create a plan of action. As much energy or stress that this has caused you, you need to put the equal amounts into a plan for you to transition successfully. So this would be building your connections with people in the community, with a career or another company that you would enjoy. Also, even creating, possibly going back to school, getting certified in specific areas, different things like that. Also, it would also be very, very, very beneficial to speak with other women in that field who feel very similar to their situation as well, to see, if some things are remedied easily, and you could actually, blow off the stress by talking to someone else that has something similar, or even getting advice from another person in that field to see what other avenues you can take as well.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, tell me a little bit more about those two keys you pulled out.
Oh, hold on a second. What did you call me?
I said, tell me a little more about those two keys that you pulled out. I didn't call you anything.
I thought you gave me a name. I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, so this is a bone key. It's an actual bone. I got this over at Pantheacon. I got a bunch of these from Pantheacon, and this one decided to jump in the box. This one I signify with other spirits. So when this comes out, this actually came out in the reading for this week. It is basically saying to listen to your guides, listen to your gut, and intuition as well. And the second key that came out of my box, I don't know if you can see with the camera and the lighting, but it says emergency key. And this is not one that you turn to a lock. You actually just place it in the mechanism and then it shuts it in place. So, for this, basically, it means that you take time, analyze things, do not panic. Yes,
you got the emergency key. You're in good shape. I love that. My gosh, thank you so much for sharing that with us. That is amazing. I forgot to say at the beginning, but you are going to be having something coming up where you're going to be giving people early access. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, so Valentine's Day is coming up, and February 14th is on a Sunday. And since we are all still in quarantine, I'm still going to set up time to where I'm going to do classes. But what I will be offering for February is to do love work for folks. So love work basically to do love healing from a past relationship, self-love work if you want to boost a confidence, a love candle basically to enhance the relationship, and love attraction if you already have somebody in mind, or if you're single and looking to mingle, things like that. What I will be doing is a candle service on Valentine's Day, and this is what's going to happen with the candles that I'm going to be hand pouring and creating as well. With the candles that I will be hand pouring in my services when I'm creating them for people, is that if they take them home, then they will actually have a key at the very base of the candle for them to actually carry the spell with them. So for the Valentine's special, if you message me on my website, marcusskeletonkeys.com, you can actually get early access to that. It would just be $14 for your service as opposed to 20. And then I will basically on Valentine's Day create that service for you. You will get a skeleton key mailed to you as a part of your package as well. So if you want one for self-love, if you want one for reconciliation, love healing, basically, and also love attraction, love in general as well.
Ah, I love that. I am a huge advocate of that as well. That idea of taking something from your spell work and a candle spell and carrying that with you. I often say to people, like, when you do work with the beeswax candle, you can take the wax and you can turn it into a talisman, all that leftover wax.
Mm-hmm.
And so that key being at the bottom of your candle and then you shipping them their key, what a beautiful, amazing, and cool thing to do. I just love that. So they get that connection, that link.
Right.
To that
Yeah. It's like
work.
the prize in the Cracker Jack box.
Oh my gosh. What key am I going to get? That's so exciting. Well, it was so amazing to have you and come and share your beautiful wisdom, your amazing knowledge.
You're the hostess with the mostest.
Oh my gosh. It's so fun to have you and to see you. It's so fun to see you and to have you here on the show here and share your wisdom and your beautiful guidance with everyone. What a treat for all of us. So beautiful. So why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, anything else you've got going on besides the Valentine's Day service, and anything else you'd like to share before we end our session today?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, if you want to find me, well, you can actually find my website, marcusskeletonkeys.com, and you can actually either request magical candles actually being made for you, so you can do the spell work at home. I make skeleton key talismans. I also make mojo bags, spirit dolls, the like, things like that. And if you're on TikTok, it's the skeleton key _ between each word. Same thing with Instagram, the _skeleton _
I love it. And that you have to subscribe either to, if you're a TikTok person, which I'm not, I'm too old. They won't let me in.
Don't worry.
But I am an Instagram person, and your Instagrams are hilarious. Your TikToks that you put over onto Instagram are hilarious. I always stop and watch when I see one come up in my feed. It's always a treat when I see you. So, oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Marcus.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Of course, and beautiful, bright blessings to you as
Likewise,
we go through, as we go through this crazy time. And all of you here in the clubhouse, beautiful and bright blessings to you as well. I'm so glad that we get together and we have this opportunity to get together for free. You know, we get to get together and hang out. You get to ask your questions about magic. I love it. So I hope you'll join me next week. I don't even know who my guest is next week because I didn't look it up ahead of time. I'm such a ding dong. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you right now. My guest is going to be, here we go, someone amazing. I can tell you that. Oh, my computer's being very slow. And it's going to be, drum roll. Do you want to do a little drum roll for me? Let me get to the page. Oh my goodness gracious. You can always find out by going to Parlor Wonders and looking up, although lately the calendar's been doing weird things. It's supposed to be able to tell you about the person, and for some reason it's not popping up, just popping up with their name. Computers, internet, Squarespace, all of it. I'm complaining. All right, let me get to that page. Almost there. It's like the Flintstones. A little bird is in there. A little squirrel is on a wheel.
You think your job is tough.
Exactly. Gosh, it's so slow. It's because I'm on Zoom right now. That's why. Okay, almost there. Our guest next week is going to be none other than, let me get to it. Oh, come on. There we go. Our guest is going to be, I'm not really good at filling up the space, am I? It is going to, oh God, I got the wrong calendar. Damn it. I was all excited. I thought I was going to get to it. Here we go. You guys are probably typing it in the chat right now. You guys probably know. Aha, there's the calendar I want. Okay.
Got it? Okay, cool.
Okay. The guest is going to be, Pamela Chen. Oh, she's amazing. She did the unicorn, the amazing crystal unicorn tarot. She's a tarot maker and she's doing all these amazing work right now. She's magical, she's beautiful, and she's such a bright beacon of light. So Pamela Chen's going to be here next week. Yay. Oh, see, it was worth the wait to find that out. All right, you guys. Thanks again for being here. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. I'll see you on whatever date that is next Sunday. I'll see you then. Don't forget the 22nd is New Moon services for February. Go on sale. Don't forget that. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Marcus, for being here. Have a beautiful week, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.